Hi guys, Don Rice here. And the last time we were here, I laid up this 3-inch motor tube and didn't really know what I was doing. And I learned quite a bit from this experience. And well, that one's trash. So I'm now going to try a new method. I'm going to walk you guys, I'm going to do the whole thing one step at a time, and hopefully this time it'll turn out a little better. This time it's going to be a multi-step process, and I got the idea for this multi-piece tube from somebody online who, of course, I don't remember who it was now, and so I'm just going to shamelessly steal the idea. And what we do is, this is still a cardboard tube. I could use metal, except I don't have a metal tube, so I'm not going to use metal. And you can see the end of this is a wood plug that I cut and shaped to fit inside the cardboard tube, and we will screw and we will screw, period. And we will screw the cardboard pieces on to the wooden form, end pieces. There's one on each end, and I'll end up with a tube that can then be taken apart after I've laid up the part. So that's the idea. Alright, so you can see how it goes like that, and I'm going to continue to put this thing together, and I'm going to get some more stuff ready, and we'll be back in a minute. Hey guys, Don Rice here, and we're about to try, this is going to be the second attempt at making a 3-inch motor tube for the V173 Flying Pancake. And the first one, which was done a couple of days ago, the wrapping of the cloth materials around the form was not tight enough, and so I'm going to try a different method because well, that was trash. So here's a new form, because the last one got destroyed in the process of trying to get that tube off of it. And so this is going to be a multi-step process, and we're going to start here. I put some plastic down on my bench here to kind of protect it from what I'm about to do. And what I'm about to do is that. This is 3M77. Okay, so pick your nose for a minute. We're going to let that tack up just a little bit, and I am then going to try and wrap that onto this cardboard tube, and get it nice and tight, because when all of this gets sucked down eventually under vacuum, if it's not already tight, then it'll bunch up and make these little ridges, and I'm not making ruffles here, so ridges are bad. Alright, I'm going to just do that. And come here. There you go. Alright. So, we'll see how this goes. The thing that I'm actually gluing to some extent on right now is a release plastic. So even though I sprayed one side, the other side is still nothing sticks to me plastic, and that is what the rest of the layers will be laid up on, and we'll keep all of the glued fiberglass and carbon layers and from sticking to the cardboard form. This doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer we get to perfect, you know, the less work there's going to be later. Come on, there we go. Alright, so we got a couple little wrinkles and crinkles so far. I just put a very light dusting of that 3M77 on here because all I wanted to do is just kind of hold on a little bit. I'm not looking to make a permanent bond here. Anything but, really. So that seems to have been just about the right amount. It gave it the stickiness. I'm going to say a little bit less sticky than maybe Scotch tape, but certainly sticky enough to stick to itself here and to the cardboard form. So that's good. And although I have a couple of wrinkles, or a couple of dozen wrinkles, it's okay. The wrinkles are all, I'm going to say, they all compress down to something less than a 64th of an inch. Okay. Alright. So, the release film is on. This is one layer of 3-ounce fiberglass cloth. It's a plain weave, and we're going to do the same thing here. Just a light layer like that. And the camera's saying the battery's about to die, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. Alright, so it's been a couple of minutes. The 3M77 should be tacked up just a little bit, and so we will set this down right there, right on the edge of the glass cloth, and release. Okay. Alright. It would be good if I can, maybe on serial number 3, I will learn how to get that release plastic put on without creating any bubbles, any air bubbles. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you never know. We're supposed to get better with this with practice, right? So here is the next layer, which is also 3-ounce fiberglass cloth. And just like the last one, we're going to put a little bit of 3M77 on there and give it a minute. Okay, so a couple of minutes have passed. I can see where the overlap is because these are 12 inches wide. It takes about 10 inches to go around this form. This is one edge, and and there's the other edge. So I'm going to put the first edge of this piece someplace other than right there. I'm going to put it right there. So one overlap is running right along here. The other overlap will be at roughly the 12 o'clock position. Hey. Okay. Nothing is ever easy. Here, thank you. Right there. Right there. Okay, so you guys are getting to see firsthand what happens when you have no idea what you're doing. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta suck it up. Put your big boy pants on. Put your big boy pants on and give it a try. So here's the new edge, and I'm just going to lay all this down. Alright. Like that. Okay. Alright. The next step is going to be to apply resin to that, so we'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, so I've mixed up probably too much resin, and what I've got here is a bag ready to go onto the thing. This time I'm actually, rather than sticking this whole big mess inside a great big bag, I am this time going to wrap a bag and seal it around the tube. So brush and resin and check. I never quite got all my shit together, so gloves. Okay, so I'm going to set the bag aside for the moment. And all right, we're ready to make a big old mess. Because the glass layers were laid on here dry, I'm going to put on a reasonably heavy, well, reasonably wet layer of glass. And by the time I make it back around to the starting point again, it should have soaked in. At least that's the idea. What you got, man?
Got this for you.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Do I need to sign something?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
And can I just have
Don
that's
Rice, R-I-C.
Thank you.
Yep. Alright. Sorry for the interruption, guys. But nothing stops the FedEx man from his appointed rounds. I mixed up, in this case, this is West Systems, and normally I don't use West Systems when I'm bagging because it goes off a little bit quicker than I usually, it goes off faster than I can usually get everything done. But this is a fairly simple layup since the cloth is already in place. All I've got to do is wrap some peel ply and get it thrown in the bag. And so theoretically, I can do all of that before the West Systems kicks, and I can get it under vacuum. Also, it's fairly chilly. It's in the 50s right now, and so that gives me a little bit more time to work with. Alright, so one of the nice things about fiberglass is as you wet it out, it kind of becomes translucent. And you know that it's properly wetted when you can see whatever the underlying substrate is. In this case, it's the cardboard, and I can see the cardboard substrate everywhere, which is good. That means everything is wetted out nicely. So we can be done with that. That, by the way, was 50 grams of 105 West Systems resin with 10 grams of the 206 West Systems slow hardener. Alright, this is peel ply. Stay. Alright, so it sticks itself pretty nicely to the resin, the glass, which is all wetted out. So the peel ply is going to wet itself out pretty quickly. That's already done. just like that. And next thing that goes on there is this release. Uh-oh. We lost a piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Rats. What did I do with it? No. No. Okay. No. Huh. Awesome. No one to blame but myself. Which is what I would like to. But I have lost a piece. There it is. Oh dear. The wind must have blown it over. Alright. There's the idea. Right there. Okay. Disaster averted. Okay. I'm going to wrap that around. Just like that. Okay, so this was perforated plastic, perforated release material, and then what's going on here? This white stuff is it's a quilting material called batting, or I don't know what else you might call it, but it will. As this gets pressed by the vacuum bag, what will happen is the excess resin will float up through the peel ply, and it'll go through the holes that are in this release plastic, and it'll get soaked up by this cotton batting material, and so that's how we keep our layups as light as possible. It is, however, possible to soak up too much resin with your batting material, which is kind of why you want to use that perforated plastic. The perforated plastic, kind of holds most of the resin down, but anything that's definitely excess will get soaked up. Okay, so that's that. Let me clean the glue off here real quick. Just a small mess.
No, it's fine.
All right. Get rid of the gloves, and we'll bring the bag back. And okay, never done it this way before, but seemed like a good idea. And so around the edge of this bag is some bagging tape, which is kind of like clay. And out here on the edge, this is the edge of, right here is the edge of the release plastic film. And so I'm going to put that tape just outside of that, because I really want this thing to seal down to the cardboard. Just like that. Okay. My thought behind doing it this way is that it will suck all the air out between this bagging material and the underlying cardboard without applying a compressive force to the tube itself. At least that's what my simple mind can tell me. And therefore I can apply more pressure. Because it's a cardboard tube, I can only put about 5 inches of mercury worth of pressure on this before the cardboard starts to compress. And having the cardboard compress is bad. I'll play around with the clay for a couple more minutes and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so I think we're just about ready to do the big suck. So I just kind of go around with my fingers and seal this bagging tape. And alright, so let's see what happens. Okay. Suck. That doesn't sound good at all. Can you hear? Oh, I know there's a big leak right there. There's a leak right there. Okay, take 2. And the other concern here is that I'm essentially sealing this whole thing to a cardboard tube. Cardboard is probably not airtight, but I had kind of expected it to, I don't know, I kind of expected it would leak quicker than it normally leaks, but that it would still turn off at least for a couple of minutes at a time. But I can hear the leak. For some reason the pressure isn't being transferred to the actual. Oh, 'cause there's- okay. Yeah, that was all right. Okay. Let this be a lesson to you. There always needs to be a path for the air to leave the part. Alright, so when I wrapped the plastic around here, there is right here essentially two layers of plastic. And it's sealing off the nipple. Okay. You always want this valve to actually, what should be touching the underside of this valve is the matting material or some kind of air breather like this, so that air has a way of escaping. Something over here is leaking. Something way over on the other side is leaking. So, this is that gooey tape material. Put it right there. as you slowly plug the leaks, you kind of know you're gaining on it by how much time there is in between periods of the vacuum being on. There's a leak over here where my left hand is. As long as I'm pushing on it, it doesn't leak, or at least I can't hear it. Okay. Alright. Let's see what we are sucked down to. The level looks like about 7 pounds. I'm going to crank it up. Alright, that's 12.5 pounds. The more pressure you can get on it, the more tightly bound all the filaments and the resins are going to be, and the more compressive force there will be to try and squeeze out any excess resin to be soaked up by the cotton cloth. Alright, so I'm going to leave that for a few hours and let it get nice and hard. And, oh wait, one more thing. Try not to die. There we go. That is a nice warm electric blanket. I've been sitting on it. It's been keeping my tush warm. But now it's going to help warm up the resin, help it set quicker, so that a couple of hours from now, hopefully I can move on to the next step. At least that's the plan. Later.